Lane Kiffin's decision is going to impact every college football program in some way. And to be honest, just about every player and coach will be impacted. What's he going to do, and how's it going to impact everybody across the sport?
Locked On presents The Portal, the daily podcast covering college football recruiting and everything NIL. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
The Portal Podcast, where you get your daily recruiting, NIL, and transfer portal scoop. I'm your host, Brian Smith, longtime college football recruiting analyst. Thank you for making the Portal Podcast a part of your day each and every day right here on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day on the nation's #1 podcast network, Locked On. Today's show is brought to you by our friends at Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Download the Game Time app today. We're going to be talking about the latest commitments, decommitments, and everything else going on as we get ready for all these coaching decisions, who's coming, who's staying, who's going. It impacts the recruits, the transfer portal, and everything else. Mike Norvell gets a quote-unquote vote of confidence, if you will, across college football. He's not the first. Dave Aranda at Baylor, that's somebody to talk about. We have some other guys as well, and college football is full of opportunities, if you will, for coaches to make their amends. They got probably 1 year. We're going to talk about several of them and Luke Fickell as well. But we're going to start off the show with the impact that is none other than Lane Kiffin. Lane Kiffin is allegedly going to make a decision this coming Saturday. Depending on who you talk to, that decision's already done. It's going to be LSU. But is it really? And regardless of where he goes, how does he impact everybody? This is my take here at the start of the show. Number one, Lane Kiffin is at the top of the board of many schools, Florida and LSU in particular. With that being the case, there is no way in the world that he doesn't impact recruits, coaches, and players at obviously Florida, LSU, and Ole Miss. He is or is not going to be the coach at one of those schools, depending on where you are. He is or is not going to be your guy. But that also changes what assistants are where, how their families are going to be allocated funds. In other words, are they still employed? Where are they going to be employed? And of course, the high school recruits. This is a recruiting show. This is a portal show. Every kid at those schools may or may not be there if Kiffin does or does not go to that school. If he goes to Florida, if he goes to LSU. And then it's the trickle down. If Kiffin goes to LSU, somebody's got to replace Kiffin at Ole Miss. I've heard about John Sumrall. Maybe he's Auburn. Maybe he's Ole Miss. There's a race, allegedly, between those two institutions to get Sumrall, depending on who you talk to. That's a big deal. Auburn and Ole Miss are really good jobs. Then you got Florida. That's a tremendous job. If he picks Ole Miss, stays, or if he goes to LSU, who's next? At Florida, how quickly could they get something done? Because signing day is December 3rd. They play the Florida State Seminoles in Ben Hill Griffin Stadium this weekend. After that, 4 days later, you're signing your class. How does Florida do that without a head coach? That could be the same situation if Kiffin does pick Florida. He doesn't go to LSU. These are awkward spots for all these schools. So if you take nothing from this podcast, note the following. Kiffin's decision is going to impact people across the SEC, ACC, college football. Almost everybody is going to be impacted by Kiffin in some way, shape, or form, many times directly. It's not intentional from Lane Kiffin. He's just choosing what's best for him and his family. Fair enough. But it does matter. It will change recruiting rankings. It will change who's got a better roster. It will change who's got a better head coach. This is going to be the start of the tidal wave of the coaching decisions, and it's all right before National Signing Day. Timing could not be more disastrous. Imagine being Tulane right now, trying to sell what you've got going on at your program. Could you? Will you? I don't know. It's not easy. I can tell you that. And you know that schools are coming after those recruits because they don't think Sumrall is going to be there. That's what they're going to sell to recruits. What about Alex Golish at USF? Same deal. All these schools are in the same boat, but it starts at the top with Lane Kiffin. I don't think it's going to be very easy for anybody that is right there below where the Kiffin line is, and it's Kiffin than everybody else, to say that I'm definitely staying. Like Eli Drinkwitz tried to give that non-persuasive answer a week or so ago in his press conference. Didn't do a very good job of it. I'm not going to answer any internet rumors, this, that, and the other. Either say you are 100% staying at Missouri and not talking to anybody or not. By giving a non-answer, you're looking at opportunities. We're not stupid. Recruits are not stupid. Fans of other schools are not stupid. Doesn't mean he won't stay at Missouri, but the non-denial is a denial that you're going to admit the truth. So there's that too. Now, for the coaching carousel, who's next? Who's the most likely to pull the trigger, even if you take the whole Lane situation with LSU, Ole Miss, and Florida out? Who's most likely? Again, Luke Fickell, they've already given a vote of confidence at Wisconsin, so that's done. Baylor, Dave Aranda got the vote of confidence. And Mike Norvell also got the vote of confidence. Is there anybody else, or is there going to be another move made? Is there another firing coming? We're going to talk about that next here on the Portal Podcast. Today's show is brought to you by Wayfair. The holiday season is right around the corner, and that means it's time to get your home ready. Whether you need to get more seating for guests, cozy new linens, or fun serveware for holiday hosting, Wayfair's Black Friday sale is here, and it can help your space shine. And the best part, you really don't have to wait all the way to Friday for Black Friday. Wayfair's Black Friday deals happen all month long. 70% off on everything from sofas to spatulas. So if you need linens, yeah, that's fine. If you need serveware, that's great. Pillows. If you need a desk like I did, I got a desk off Wayfair and it works just fine. 3 days in, no problems at all. Got it shipped right to my door. So with Wayfair, you've got a variety of things you can use that you can get in your house quickly and to set up for the holidays. Don't miss out on early Black Friday deals. Head over to wayfair.com. Shop today with Wayfair's Black Friday sale up to 70% off. Wayfair.com. The sale ends this December the 7th. Thank you once again for making the Portal Podcast a part of your day, each and every day, right here on the Locked On Podcast Network, the nation's #1 podcasting site. Let's talk a little bit about the Norvell situation and use it as a barometer of what's next. They went ahead and got out in front of it. I don't know if that was smart or not to do it in terms of the timing. I'll just go ahead and openly say, as a guy who also runs Locked On Seminoles, the decision to keep Norvell will end up hurting them long term, but that's not what this show is going to be about. We're going to stick to the basics. Timing. Why would FSU do that, and should anybody else? If you're going to, quote unquote, eat the contract, in other words, they're just not going to fire him. They're going to eat it and go through it, see how it goes. Why would you do that? There are 2 points. Number one, I think a lot of schools are looking at it to try to get it lost in the wash. Dave Aranda, Fickell, etc. Doesn't matter who it is. They just want to get it done before the signing day weekend gets here this coming weekend. They want as much of it done as possible. Get the negativity out. Number two, they're just going to go out and try to spend money on NIL to get players. And they want to give confidence to recruits as well as people that are thinking about getting in the portal. Hey, our coach is going to be here. Now, that doesn't come without risk. Let me be very clear. Does anybody really believe that Dave Aranda is safe, or Luke Fickell is safe, or Mike Norvell is safe? No. But that's the only card these schools have to play. The real reason they're still employed is money. M-O-N-E-Y. We all know it. It's a joke to say otherwise. So they played the cards that they had, and it just wasn't a very good hand. Does Florida State, or anybody else for that matter, have another option? They probably didn't like the opportunities for the coaches they could get, especially with the buyout numbers. So first off, don't be the coaching or the administration that hires a coaching staff with all these long contracts. You got to tell Jimmy Sexton and everybody else, go pound sand. Those things got to end. And by the way, if LSU or anybody else hires Kiffin for these 10-year deals, even at Kiffin, like as good a coach as, it's a terrible idea. How are you going to know in 3 years that he's going to be as committed as he is right now? You don't. yet you're on the hook no matter what. It's a terrible idea. But that's where we are. So with that, here are my predictions. One, well, again, I could just use Florida State as an example because they're already jumping in the waters. They're going to get a few recruits that some other schools may not think they're going to get because they're the money for the buyout from Norvell, and this could happen at Wisconsin or Baylor or anywhere else. They're going to use towards recruiting. It's the same thing that UF did with Napier last year. How'd that work out, by the way? Oh, yeah, that's right. He's unemployed. But at the same time, bottom line, they're probably going to get a few. To that end, give Florida State credit. I just watched this film. I wasn't sure what was going to happen, but Florida State just got DeMod Lewis, a defensive end out of Myers Park High School in the Charlotte area. Really good program. That kid's legit. He's a 3-star, but to me, he's not a 3-star player. You can't tell me that part of the NIL that he got wasn't a part of the same collection of cash that would have been otherwise used to get rid of Norvell. That's one way to do it. But my bigger question is, are these schools going to be able to dump enough of it, like Lewis is a high school kid, into high school, or are they going to have to dump a majority of that money into the portal, which, by the way, for the record, there's only one portal window, January 2nd through the 16th. So are they going to be able to do that and get enough high school kids to really start building your program long-term, or because their coaches are still on a blistering hot seat, are they going to have to listen to the head coach say, I need players now, and go to the portal and just start this cycle over every year? There's barely skimming above the water to stay afloat. Because I think that's going to be the overwhelming theme for all these teams. It's not just Wisconsin, Baylor, or Florida State. Anybody that does this, you're just prolonging the inevitable. You're running the lie for any of these schools. It doesn't matter who it is. And eventually it's not going to work because you have to play young players. You have to go through it in a slow developing process because football is a long grind to get better. It is a physical sport. It is the ultimate team sport. It is about reps, reps, reps. And when you bring in juniors and seniors and graduate students to come in to start, those younger guys, some of them are going to run off. And above all else, you're probably going to lose team chemistry. You might go 500. You might even win 8 games. But teams that go super portal heavy outside of Ole Miss, they're about the only one that's done it with a significant amount of success. Everybody else falters. Texas Tech's kind of borderline there too. But they only took around 20. Ole Miss takes 30. They're the pure exception. It doesn't work. High school recruiting is where it's at, but that's a slow process. If you're basically on a 1-year contract regardless because you're worried about getting fired, are you going to wait on the high school kids? Probably not. So the two things to learn from that, it's not going to work long term. These coaches will stick around a little longer. And number 2, you're going to see a lot of these schools that aren't in a bad coaching spot jump into the waters and try to steal your recruits down this stretch. Again, we're 9 days from National Signing Day. Do you think Mario Cristobal, Ryan Day, Marcus Freeman, any of these coaches around the country that are safe? Do you think they care that you're on the hot seat? They're coming after your guys. Cristobal flipped a bunch of guys in November. Shocking? No. Notre Dame is doing a really good job of recruiting. Surprising? No. Ohio State, same thing. They're on a hot streak. Coaches that are in very good standing are magically doing really well in recruiting. Why is that? Because recruits pick coaches, not schools. It's the same thing I say on this show every week and oftentimes many days in a row. Here it is again. The right head coach, you can develop your high school recruits year after year. You may not hear about them for a couple of years, especially those linemen. It takes a while, but you'll win on the backside with juniors, seniors, and 5th-year seniors that your program developed from the outset of their collegiate careers. Teams that are playing this game, like with Mike Norvell or with Dave Aranda at Baylor, they're just going through 1-year cycles trying to get above water so they don't drown. It's probably not going to work. When we come back, we're going to talk about the latest commitments and what's been going on around college football world. Today's show is brought to you by Game Time. College football has been exciting as all get out this year. Could be more excited to be a part of it. And the tailgates, rivalries, and everything that's going on in the stands, there's nothing quite like it. But let's be real, actually getting tickets to college football games can feel like a little bit more than a battle than the game itself. Endless queues, all the confusion on which place you should go, and the prices jumping out at you at checkout. It's not what you thought, right? That's why I use Game Time, and actually just got 2 tickets on Game Time. The app that gives the advantage back to me and you, college football fans. It's the easiest way to score last-minute tickets at the best prices, no hidden fees. What you see is what you get. 2 tickets, in and out in 5 minutes on Game Time. Found the team I wanted, found the game I wanted, and put in my credit card information. 5 minutes. Take the guesswork out of buying college football tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, promo code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Download the Game Time app today. All right, let's talk a little bit about the latest commitments. We got a few to go over. It's not a long list per se, but let's just kind of start off here. Memphis, they just got Brandon Ford out of Crowley High School in Texas. Memphis dipping into the greater Dallas area. That's pretty nice. Getting a corner, got a little bit of size, 6', 180. Good for them. Demond Lewis, talked about him briefly a little bit ago. Florida State gets the edge out of the Charlotte area. I think he's underrated. On3 has him as a 3-star, but I think that kid can play. Good for Florida State. Jet Walker, running back from just outside of Austin, Texas at Georgetown High School. That's a really unique player. He's got some speed to him and some cutting ability, and he's 215. Good pickup by the Texas Longhorns. Dominic Koznicki out of Chippewa Valley High School in Clinton, Michigan. Offensive tackle going to Miami of Ohio, 6'5", 255. And Cash Brock out of Basha High School in Chandler, Arizona. Wide receiver going to play for Iowa State. Talk about a change in weather. Aiden Buchanan, he's out of Page High School in Greensboro, North Carolina. Offensive tackle. He's going to Florida Atlantic. Iowa State, Arlie Morrell, tight end. He's going to Iowa State as well. He's out of Pratt High School in Kansas. We got Ole Miss. This is kind of an interesting situation. Victor Lincoln out of Duncanville, corner, committed. I've also seen where he decommitted. We'll talk about that in a second. Nathan Bernhard, quarterback out of Ashland High School in Ohio. He is going to Maryland. It's kind of interesting, Maryland dip into Ohio. It's usually the other way around, Ohio State going and stealing some of their recruits. Now let's talk about some of the guys that have decommitted. Now, I don't know what's really going on with the whole Victor Lincoln situation. Maybe it was Oklahoma State, and that's what I'm figuring. I guess, because I just looked at this last second, I got it wrong, but it's interesting with Kiffin on the block that he committed to Ole Miss, but I read it wrong. He was committed to Oklahoma State. That's another program that has just sunk. So even with Kiffin on the block, my apologies, Ole Miss picks up a kid out of Duncanville High School. That's a really nice pickup for them. If Ole Miss can continue to get kids from Dallas, that's, by the way, Kewan Lacey's from that area, that's going to benefit them quite a bit. That's a good football player. Nathan Bernard, the kid that I talked about, the quarterback, he was a flip as well. Good for them getting him. I don't really know what to expect moving forward over this week, but with all these changes, the decommitment list could get pretty crazy. I'm going to have to do even more research on who, what, when, where, and why, but there's going to be a whole bunch of them. Last parting shot here, just to talk about what's been going on with college football today. With all the news that's going to be breaking, and it's going to be random, I don't have any special nugget. Look for a lot of different guys to take visits this weekend to different schools, whether they're committed to that program or not. As the saying goes, follow the visits. Whether you like the school that they're visiting or not, there's a reason they're there. A lot of these kids aren't sure where these coaches are going. Sumrall, Kiffin, Eli Drinkwitz, whatever school it may be that these young guys are kind of following and watching these coaches, they want to keep their options open. Can't say I blame them. Thank you once again for making the Portal Podcast a part of your day, each and every day right here on the Locked On Podcast Network. We will see you again soon.